Perhaps one of the best moments this weekend, Damar Hamlin cheering on his Buffalo Bills from home after being reunited with the team. So for more, let's bring in LZ Granderson, ABC News contributor and op-ed columnist at the Los Angeles Times. Elsie, what a weekend, first of all. But the Bills are the story of the playoffs for me, since I'm a Bears fan and we came nowhere near. But what stood out to you?
For you, Tommy.
Oh, man.
Thoughts and prayers.
What stood out to you?
Well, as much as, you definitely want to talk about, Hamlin's visit with the Buffalo Bills at the facility on Saturday and obviously the game on Sunday, anytime a team is spotted 27 points is able to come back and win, you got to kind of hand the attention over to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were down 27-0 at halftime and found a way to win that game. So as a pure sports fan, outside of everything else, anytime that kind of remarkable comeback is, part of a postseason, you can't help but gravitate towards that way.
Well, you got to hand it to the Chargers, and you got to wonder what is up. With the Jaguars. So you got to wonder what's up with the Chargers, the team they beat after the Chargers were winning by 27. That's got to be the biggest disappointment of the weekend, right?
I mean, biggest disappointment, biggest shock. I mean, you have to keep in mind that the head coach that the Chargers hired was the former defensive head coach for the Rams, who won last year's Super Bowl. So this is a guy whose job was to create defense and, voracious defenses. And so not only was it shocking to be outscored 27-0, but to have a defensive head coach not be able to stop that onslaught made it even more shocking.
Yeah, and it was something to watch. Meanwhile, the Bills and the Bengals are set for a rematch after their last game was canceled because of the injury to Damar Hamlin and how that impacted the fans, the players most of all. So how important is it that they can play this game now, knowing that Damar's out of the hospital, he's recovering at home, he's doing it apparently really well?
It's night and day. Terry, unfortunately, over the course of my career, I've covered a number of stories in which student athletes have passed away, either at the practice facility. One student that I covered hit the game-winning shot for his basketball team in Finnville, Michigan, and died right there on the court in front of the entire town, and the team. And that team had to figure out a way to piece itself together and go on and play another game. And they were able to win that game, but weren't able to go on and win the championship, in large part because they weren't a great team, they were an inspired team. Now, with the Bills, they're a great football team. So you need to start there, because any place they go in terms of inspiration, right, knowing that their player is healthy and he's walking around and he's talking and cheering them on, they can draw more inspiration from that. But don't lose sight of the fact that this is a great team drawing inspiration and not just a mediocre team playing above its head. So they're expected to win these games. They're expected to be a favorite going to the Super Bowl. This just helps them a little bit more by giving them something in addition to playing for.
Absolutely. And Elsie, we got one last wild card battle tonight. Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could be Tom Brady's last game, I guess, maybe again. Wouldn't be the first time Brady teased his retirement. First, I look at that Tampa Bay team and I don't think they can win. They've been lousy all year. Every once in a while, he's shown some flashes. What's your read on that game? And on Brady, he's got no place to go anymore, it seems, after he took up football instead of staying home. How do you read that?
Well, there are a couple of things at play. I think first and foremost, you start with the fact that Tom Brady has never lost to the Dallas Cowboys. He's 6-0. So I know that hasn't all been against Dak Prescott, the current QB, but it does say something about his ability to either go on the road or play at home against that particular team and just find a way to win. The last time I think they played each other was in 2021. Tom Brady was down with less than a minute to go, marched 54 yards down the field, won the game. So he doesn't like to lose to Dallas. That's number one. And then number two is that while it is true that they've been somewhat mediocre all season and they come into the postseason with a losing record, they entered the postseason playing much better because they started to get healthier, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. So while the Dallas Cowboys may still have some questions on offense, the Buccaneers are starting to find themselves in offense and beginning to show flashes of that dominant team that won the Super Bowl not too long ago. So if Tom Brady is playing his last game, he's going to do something he's never done before, which is lose to the Cowboys. And I'm not quite sure if he wants to go out like that.
Yeah, probably doesn't. Don't count him out in the playoffs, obviously. So, Super Bowl.
Obviously.
Who's going to be in it, do you think?
I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going with the 49ers. I'm going with the Chiefs because of their schedule to the Super Bowl. They obviously are going to be facing Jacksonville, and then they're either going to be facing either the Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl last year, or they'll be facing an inspired Bills team, but they won't have to go through both. So that's a much easier route to Phoenix, where the Super Bowl is being held. And then on the other side of the ball, you have a 49ers team that really felt as if they should have won the Super Bowl last year. The Rams came back and snatched that game from them in the closing seconds of the NFC Championship game. Very similarly, the Rams came back and beat the Bengals within the closing minutes of the Super Bowl. And so you have a couple of teams in the postseason still that feels as if last year's winner, the Rams, were very vulnerable and they should be the winners. The 49ers, out of everyone who feels that way, in my opinion, is the most complete team. And again, it's about the route. How are they getting there? I don't see anyone in the NFC putting any fear against that defense. And on the offensive side of the ball against Deebo Samuel, good luck, bro. Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, that defense is ferocious, too. We'll see.
Yes.
My wife's a Chiefs fan, so she's rooting for Kansas City. We'll see what happens there. LZ Granderson, good to see you. Thanks very much.
You as well.
And be sure to catch the new season of LZ's podcast, Life Out Loud, Season 3. Premieres on Thursday wherever you can stream it. It's certainly worth it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.